My name is Ross Theriot, and I grew up in southern Louisiana in a town called Creole. We grew up pretty poor, but my parents, they worked hard. They supported us in any way they could. When I was in middle school, I started to experience medical issues. Ended up having about 9 ankle surgeries to reconstruct my ankles, and then ended up having spinal issues where I had scoliosis and had 2 surgeries. So there was 11 surgeries over about a 7-year period. Then during that, we were struck by a hurricane in 2005 and lost everything. My community was a town of fishermen, oil field workers, and cattle farmers. And that was kind of the path you were kind of destined to pursue growing up in that town. But I wanted a different life. Growing up, I felt very isolated. Whenever you're sick when you're younger, you miss a lot of school, you miss a lot of traditions that you have with school. You spend a lot of time in hospitals and with doctors' offices. But that's kind of where my love and interest in medicine started. I think I realized the impact that medicine can have on people. Not only just the physicality of somebody, but you start to understand them holistically. So my first job was as a pediatric nursing assistant in a pediatrician's office at 16 years old. I was working full-time and going to school full-time in high school. And I knew that there was more out there than that southern Louisiana marsh. So I really was in front of that computer applying to any scholarship that I could get my hands on. And Horatio Algier came up, and I thought this could be something that could propel me forward. So I applied to Horatio Algier, never thinking that this little boy in southern Louisiana would get this amazing opportunity. I was a 2008 Louisiana State Scholar. My scholarship was named after Mr. Bill Doré. It wasn't until Horatio Algier that I realized that there is a community very much like me who looks at that adversity and sees what it was and the benefits that came from it as well. I feel very fortunate to have the opportunities that I have had because of Horatio Algier. I have always been interested in research, and for 6 years I traveled across the world starting and launching clinical research studies in pediatric oncology and pediatric rare disease. I got to meet people very different from me. I got to learn a lot of different thought processes, but I missed that one-on-one interaction and the impact you can have. So I decided to be crazy and apply back to school. So I'm enrolled at the University of California, San Francisco for their pediatric nurse practitioner program, and the goal is to become a pediatric nurse practitioner to advance research to understand toxic stress and how it affects children and their families and their neighborhoods and their communities. The little boy in room 36 is having surgery tomorrow.
Does he have any caregivers at bedside?
No, just mom. I'm also practicing as a child life specialist at UCSF Benioff Children's, so that way I still have that clinical mindset while I'm going through school. Scheduled for 6 a.m.
Is that so good?
When you're working with these babies that are really fragile and very sick, you have to look at all their cues that they're giving you, what they like, what they don't like, and really put that all together and understand the baby holistically and then how that falls into the family.
Hi.
I never expected to live in San Francisco. I have a partner that I love and adore that lives here. We do a lot of biking and cycling, see the city, lots of great scenic landscapes here. Great place to live. In 2018, Horatio Algier opened up the National Scholars Conference. They were asking for people to be a team leader that I thought, this organization really did a lot of great things for me. Let me look at giving back. And the moment I walked in the door, I was hugged and supported and loved, and I knew in that moment that this was something special. That networking connection is something that I will take with me for the rest of my life. Best organization I've ever worked with. Currently, I'm chairing the summit for the Alumni in 2022. Looking forward to that in New Orleans. Really, it's building programming and sustaining programming so that way our scholars and our alumni feel connected to the association. After I lost my father, I felt as though I lost my home a little bit. He was kind of my person I'd go to, my support. And it wasn't until 3 years later that I met Horatio Algier And it was at that point I realized that I gained a whole new family. No matter where you are in life, if you're a student, if you're an alumni, if you're an established adult, they're always there. And I think that's the beauty of Horatio Alger.